Without further ado, let's bring to the stage the first comedian of the night. Put your hands together for Josh Fonokalafi.
Thank you. Ogden City, Friday night. How's everyone doing? Got anyone else celebrating anything?
Wedding.
A wedding? Birthday. What's your name? Aiden. And then we got a wedding?
Yeah, last night. We're from New York.
You are.
So happy about your wedding. So excited. Happiest day of your life, right? And the person who got married, is she here?
No.
No.
Busy. She's retired.
With the honeymoon. How old are you turning? 18. What's your name again? Aiden. All right, we're on the count of three. We're gonna say happy birthday to Aiden. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday,
Aiden. Excellent. Well, welcome. Thank you for celebrating. Thank you for, relaxing after the wedding that you didn't get married at. Speaking of marriage, anyone married in here? Anyone? Just confirming with your spouse before you cheer them up. We're good, right?
Yeah.
Anyone single? We got the single people.
Kind of.
Usually they're louder. Trying to convince us that they're happy. You guys weren't. You just raised your hand. That's good. That's how single people should feel. I'm actually married. I'm coming up here on 3 years of marriage, which is exciting. Coming up on 3 years. I figured out our secret to happiness. If you guys are interested, this is my secret to a happy marriage. My wife and I both know that there's a way out. Let me explain. See, when we first got married, like a couple months into the marriage, I watched this documentary. I turned on this documentary on Netflix about this guy who murdered his wife and kids and then hid their bodies in an oil drum in the desert. And halfway through the documentary, my wife paused it and looked at me and she was like, "You know, you could just divorce me, right?" I just felt all the cage walls drop, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so happy." For a couple of months, we had that same conversation, and I look at her and get ready for bed, and I'm like, "You know, you could just leave. You don't have to stab me while I'm sleeping. You know, we're good." Happy. I was excited to get married when I got married too, because I waited until I was older. I waited until I was in my 30s to get married. And I'll tell you right now that it's like really hard to be in your 30s and single in Utah. So those are the ages that people really start to worry about shit. I had my dad call me like 4 times to ask if I was gay. Like on the 4th time he called me, and he was like, "Joshua, you know your mother and I will always lie." Love you too, man. And he was like, "No matter what you choose to be in life, whether you're a police officer or a construction worker or a biker, or an Indian chief, or if you were gay." Thanks for the support, man. And he was like, "Well, are you gay?" And I was like, "I didn't know you keep asking me." I don't know, maybe. Just not trying to cut off half my options. I was trying to say, I married a woman. I married a beautiful woman. I married a beautiful woman that loves to wear plaid and played softball in college. So the theme of our wedding was, surprise, we're not gay. I know you thought, but we weren't. We also have a little kid. I am a dad. We have a little tiny 18-month-old baby, and she is adorable. I love her to death. I'll tell you right now, though, that I was scared to be a dad. Like before I became a dad, I was scared to be a dad because I'm just like an okay uncle. I gotta do my best. I was tasked one time with taking my nephews to the park, and Cooper, the youngest one, he's like this tall. My sister put him in a baby blue hoodie that said ladies man. And I was like, weird choice, let's go. And we went to the park and I flipped his hood up so he wouldn't freeze his little ears off. And just watched him play with all the other kids running around having a blast. And then Cooper tripped on a piece of bark and landed face first right in the asphalt, right in front of him. I got worried, and so I scooped him up as fast as I could, and I spun him around and went in the face of someone else's kid. And she was scared. She was terrified. I didn't even know what to do because now I'm just standing in this park holding this poor little Asian girl. In a panic, I just tucked her in my arm and I ran. That story is always funnier after the fact, not as a report to the police. But now we have a daughter now I'm really a dad, now I have all these different fears. I'll tell you my most recent fear, my most recent real fear is that one day, in the night, my baby is just gonna stop breathing. Right, and that terrifies me. This anxiety causes me to wake up in the middle of the night, and I'll sneak across the house and get into her nursery and just lay on the floor next to her crib, just so I can hear her breathing. And every now and then I'll just peek over the side of the crib just to make sure I see the blankets going up and down. And the other night I realized that this is the birth of the monster under the bed for her. She's super anxious dad, just checking. I told my dad how much stress this caused in my life, how anxious I'd get about it, and I asked him, Dad, is there ever going to be a point in time when my daughter's going to grow up to be a certain age, I'm just not going to worry about her anymore? My dad looked at me, he's like, Josh, you're our youngest child, and I worry about all my children. And you can tell that that didn't help. I got all, so he just like leaned over and kissed me on my forehead, tucked me in bed, and laid down on the floor next to me. My wife thought it was weird, but I shut go sleep. That's all. But having a kid changes a lot of stuff. It changes how I talk to my wife. It changes the conversations that we have. And most recently, we had a huge discussion about how many wipes I use on a poopy diaper. My wife was like, "How many wipes do you use, Josh?" And I was like, "Enough." She was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "That means I know I used the last wipe. If I wipe it, it's clean enough that I can put it right back in." She stopped me and she was like, "Josh, you can't reuse the wipes." And I was like, "I know. Now, from now on, that I'm not allowed to do that." Wife and I are trying for another kid. I emphasize trying because now we have doctors involved. My wife went to her doctor and expressed some concerns, and so then I got a prescription from the doctor to go to a clinic and be very uncomfortable. That's what he did. He pulled out his prescription pad and he wrote on it, "Go to the clinic and be uncomfortable." And he gave it to me. Actually, what it said was semen analysis, but it's the same thing. So I had to go to this clinic, and I went to the clinic and I was filling out some paperwork, and the nurse walked up and she was like, "So what kind of catch method are you going to use?" And I was like, "Catch method?" Right? And she was like, "Yeah, at this clinic we offer 3. You can either go in a cup, or during intercourse you can pull out and go in a cup, or you can use a needle drop." And I was like, "That's a weird way to say that there are only 2 options." That was kind of bad because I was like, I didn't know I could invite other people. Like, if I knew that, I would have made some handcrafted invites when this already started. And I just stared at her for a minute, and I was like, well, I came in alone, and my hands are long enough to touch my wiener. I just take the cup, and I left. And they take me into this room where the lights are dim. It's all weird, and there's this comfortable couch at the wall. And I was like, well, I'm not sitting on that. And I thought they would give me a paper bag, like on the TV shows, they give you a paper bag, it's where you just tiptoe out and hand it back to the nurse. That's not what they did. What they did was there's this wall with a door on it. You open the door and you set your cup in there, close it, and turn the light on, and whenever they have a chance. So I was in there for like 45 minutes. It was like, it's very uncomfortable, weird. And trying to avoid using the word hardened. But it was. Anyway. I'm just gonna end the joke, right? We'll work out in a different time. Let's talk about something else. You guys ever get caught in a YouTube rabbit hole? Right? These things that you're up until like 3 a.m. watching just weird YouTube videos. You're just interested in watching the news or something, and you end up like believing the earth might be flat and birds might not be real. Weird, crazy stuff. Where's the weirdest? Anyone got a weird YouTube rabbit hole that they've stumbled into?
Mandela.
Mandela?
Mandela effect.
Oh, the Mandela effect. That's crazy. You guys know what the Mandela effect is?
Yeah.
It's where we think that we like crashed into multiple universes where like other things happened because like Mandela didn't die in prison. Also, Shaq didn't play a genie in a movie. You know that? Some weird stuff. I got caught into the last YouTube rabbit hole I got caught into was about bear safety videos. Right? There was this really weird, there was this guy that was like super informative about it too. He was like, if you run into a bear in the woods, which is rare, it's important to know what kind of bear you run into to protect you, to know how to protect yourself. It says, for instance, if you run into a brown bear in the woods, you're supposed to make yourself look good. And I was like, make myself look good. So apparently I've been overeating my entire life, just making myself bear-proof. Well, then he explains like further, he's like, no, you're supposed to stick your arms out and puff out your chest, try to make yourself look as big as possible. I thought to myself, do they teach cubs this when they're about to venture out in the woods for the first time? Right? And they get like super nervous and they're like, well, what if I run into a Polynesian in the woods? And the adult bear is like, well, it's rare. But if you run into a Polynesian in the woods, you're supposed to make yourself look big. So you probably told them, because I ran into a bear in the woods, we were both just like, ugh! And I just kind of like tiptoed around him. Got the hell out of there. The guy goes out and he tells about black bears. So if you run into a black bear in the woods, and this is really important, don't play dead. And I was like, don't play dead? That's a weird specific thing. Like, is there a weird, like a lot of people that believe this weird myth about black bears, that they have this natural fear of being framed for murder? You're serious, like people believe that when a black bear walks up on a body that's already dead, that he's like, hey buddy, what are you, oh no, and he starts tries to like wipe his paw prints off my feet, gets super frustrated, and he's like, this would never happen to a polar bear. Just all that polar privilege. I started thinking, like, he's kind of got a point, though, right? Like, the black bear, he's got a little bit of a point. Because I was watching the news one night, and I saw a news report about a polar bear that, like, mauled and killed a guy. I'd be like, what was that guy doing where polar bears are? But if I was watching the news and I saw a report about a guy that was mauled and killed by a black bear, I'd be like, oh man, this neighborhood is going downhill. I'm Josh Fonokalafi, that is my time.